lights. A huge move that even somewhat came of us as a surprise to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and it just shows you how much their relationship was strengthened in that process because President Trump sought to do what was right. And of course, he also designated the Iranian Special Forces as a terrorist organization. So all very pro-Israel, pro the Jewish state, because simply they deserve to survive and live, and they are the most important democracy in the Middle East.
Exactly right. And President Trump also recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. So many things that he did for foreign policy, but also as a friend in Israel. As we await President Trump to speak in Washington, D.C., he'll be speaking here shortly to participate in this event, and then he'll also be addressing the Israeli-American Council coming up here shortly. So we kind of have a double dip in the sense of double dipping in the sense of the speeches today. So it's a Right Side Broadcasting Network doubleheader here today. Then on Saturday, we'll be in North Carolina for a huge rally in Wilmington. Fast forward to Monday, a huge rally in Indiana, Pennsylvania, so the town of Indiana in PA. And then not too far from Indiana, PA is Punxsutawney, which is Punxsutawney Phil, just to throw that out there for kicks, right? And then on September 28th, we are hearing that President Trump will be at the Georgia at Alabama football game. So there's a lot going on. Obviously, the campaign, it seems like it's been at full tilt, to be honest, for 3.5 straight years, because we've been thinking about it since the 2020 election.
Yeah, there's no question about that, that President Trump was really right out the gate. And I can remember being at CPAC 2021. It was actually in Florida when you remember all the lockdowns were happening. And Congressman Jim Jordan actually introduced President Trump, who was the keynote and final speaker at that conference. And Jim Jordan at that moment giving his endorsement, this is back in February of 2021, to President Trump to run again. So a lot of credit to those MAGA Republicans, especially Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio, the Judiciary Committee chairman, a brave, he was a wrestler at Wisconsin, set records that still stand throughout the country and in the state of Wisconsin specifically. But what an exciting thing to see someone like Jim Jordan, who came right out the gate to support President Trump.
Let's possibly go to Washington, D.C. right now. Okay, I'm told we'll continue our commentary here. It doesn't look like they are starting there. Maybe there's a mic check going on. But we will be going there as soon as we receive the directive from our director to go to Washington. But we are waiting for President Trump to take that stage there in the nation's capital, as President Trump will be speaking there twice. We'll have 2 different events all on this live stream right here. This is Bobby McNeely. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us since 4 o'clock Eastern. That's a lot of no teleprompter and a lot of love for our country. So we're happy to be here, happy to be with you guys, and thanks so much for watching as we await the president. Okay, they're just asking to find your seats there. That's what the gentleman there at the podium is saying to the people in that room. Okay, so are we gonna go? I'm asking the director. Okay, we'll keep going. All right, so awaiting President Trump there.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining early. We're kicking it back in the lab today. We're giving the people what they want, those who donated. Their dues, their union dues. But Trump's speech about to happen. In fact, it might happen any moment here, so we're going to watch it together. An anti-Semitism event. I didn't really know anything about this. I saw a lot of people talking about this, asking if I'll stream it, so we'll watch it together. I mean, it just so happens anti-Semitism is kind of a hot topic right now, in more ways than you think. But they might be getting started right now.
If given the truth, the great point is to bring them the real facts. If there ever was a power that breaks through the barriers, it's the power of truth. It is what people hunger for and badly miss. Mr. President, we miss the days when it was understood that America and the Jewish state of Israel care deeply for each other and both work tirelessly to maintain a mutually beneficial relationship. We miss the days when it was clear that a safe and secure Israel is a benefit to America and to the world. Our founding fathers made it clear that anti-Semitism is unethical and unpatriotic. The Bible states, "Justice you shall seek, with true justice applied to all." President Trump, you are uniquely situated to bring it all back. It is by now crystal clear that God certainly has plans for you and for all of us, and we continue to pray for His continued protection. Many stories are told about your kindness and generosity to those in need, and those acts are a measure of a great leader. We thank God for His protection and guidance to all people here and in Israel. I want to quote another great president who once said, "I tried to learn from the past, but I planned for the future by focusing exclusively on the present." Those were your words, Mr. President. The world needs a leader who could bring peace around the world, a leader who messages God's will with courage and resolve. We pray that peace and tranquility return to the embattled shores of Israel, and that our hostages are returned home. We pray that war and strife become non-existent, that opportunity and accomplishment touch the hands that reach out to it, that the new dawn brings new hope, and that God blesses you, Mr. President, with success in making America great again. And if you agree, let us say amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Please remain standing. There are times in one's life
He said amen.
when one is humbled by the opportunity to give thanks to God, to those who educated and raised him publicly. My parents raised me with the concept of working to do for the betterment of man. There's no greater honor that I could possibly have tonight than the second invocation be given by my dad, my father, my teacher, a noted educator in the Jewish world and in the world of education for 60 years. With pleasure, Rabbi Yaakov Keplun, my father.
President Trump, Dr. Mary Mendelsohn, colleagues, distinguished guests, and the many friends I've met tonight. Tonight we stand together, united by a spirit of gratitude to God for having protected President Trump, and as an expression of our concern of what is going on around us as we witness the very fabric of our society being challenged. Shalom. The word shalom, peace, may perhaps be best defined as the ultimate relationship which incorporates tolerance, understanding, and harmony between all of God's creations and their Creator. Peace is the essence of the well-known biblical blessing, wherein God instructs Moses to have his brother Aaron, the high priest, and his descendants bestow upon the people, and indeed upon all of mankind for all times. The blessing reads, "May God bless you, guard and protect you. May his countenance shine and his graciousness radiate upon you. May God turn his countenance toward you and grant you peace." In its original form, as written in the language of the Torah, "Vaydaber Adonai al Moshe lemor, daber el Aaron ve'al banav lemor, ka tevarchu et bnei Yisrael, amor lahem, yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, v'samu et shmi al bnei Yisrael v'nevarchem." I'd like to conclude with a text written much later, which we recite in our daily prayers. This prayer echoes the identical theme of peace, and it may be familiar to many of you. Please feel free to join me. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May he who adjudicates peace in the heavens above, may he make peace upon all of us and upon all the people of Israel. And let us say together, Amen.
Please be seated. I am somewhat humbled by the awesome responsibility that I'm given tonight to introduce great leaders in the Jewish nation. But before we begin, it's so incumbent upon all of us to realize and recognize that anti-Semitism is running rampant throughout the United States and the world. We need to reflect that we are not learning anything from the history of the Jewish nation, and we must take those lessons and understand them. In 1933, college campuses in Germany all had anti-Jewish protests. People were silent. No leaders had the courage to stand up against the anti-Semitic attacks that were occurring on students. Nobody had the courage to stand up to the attacks on Jewish businesses. People created Jewish-free zones, and nobody had the courage to take the time to protest or to have their voices heard. My friends, that's less than 100 years ago, and we witnessed a Holocaust where 6 million of our brethren were killed. Jews are being attacked on a daily basis. The world is silent. Unfortunately, right now, even in the halls of Congress, there are members that believe that it is okay for Jews to be killed, for women to be raped, tortured, children butchered, babies murdered in their cribs, and the world is silent or equates genocide, butchery, savagery, and tries to justify that behavior. Tonight is just a small step of a protest that we will not be silent, that we cannot be silent. And silence is acquiescing to those people's behavior. It is incumbent upon every single one of us to understand that we cannot remain silent in the face of anti-Semitism. At an event in Bedminster less than a month ago, we spoke that it is safer for a Jewish student in a college to walk down the streets of Abu Dhabi with a kippah than it is to walk in our hallowed institutions, or our so-called hallowed institutions, of Columbia, Harvard, Penn, UCLA, USC, and the list is unbelievably long. How can that be? We cannot remain silent. Leading that cause, and before people want to equate peace, and they scream about peace, as Americans, we understand from our history that to end a war, you need to win the war. And to win the war, it only ends when there is a victor of good versus evil. Good must triumph over evil. The only way that good will triumph over evil is when Israel, on the front lines of America's security, because those who chant death to Israel, the second sentence is death to America. We have to understand that Israel is the front line in our battle of anti-Semitism, but we are fighting that same battle here on the shores of America. Our founding fathers promised America with religious liberty and freedom and justice for all. All includes Jews, no matter what part or affiliation they have. We are all united and we are all Jewish. The Nazis did not discriminate whether someone was Orthodox or non-Orthodox, whether a Jewish child was disabled or not disabled. There was no discrimination. You were Jewish, we hated you. That behavior is becoming norm in this country, and that is unacceptable. Israel is only secure when it has the strength to be able to be secure. The Grand Rabbi of Lubavitch spoke about the concept of peace is only established when there are strong nations and strong countries that are able to make certain that there is a deterrent. We are blessed tonight. You will be hearing from two incredible leaders. It's my privilege tonight to introduce a woman who is at the forefront of the battle for keeping the Jewish faith, keeping tradition, letting students understand their history of being Jewish, explaining that Israel is a state, a Jewish state, that must have its security. She is also one of America's leading businesswomen. She is a patriot of both countries. She is known as a friend to many in this room. To me, she is the beacon of what a businesswoman, what a Jewish woman who cares deeply about her faith, deeply about America, deeply about Israel, and together with her husband impacted America and Israel in so many ways that are public and so many more ways that are not. It is my privilege to introduce tonight Dr. Miriam Adelson.
Please sit. Before I start, I want to dedicate a few minutes to my students who came all the way from Pennsylvania, and I heard from Harvard. And I want to tell you, I want you to continue to walk with your kippah in school. Stand straight. You know, my husband had a poster in his office, and this was one of the impressive things in my life in his office. Just a painting of a guy standing like this. And it says, stand up for what you believe in, even if you stand up alone. Guys, from all my heart, I'm telling you, start going with the kippah. Go with your Magen David. Don't pay attention to others. And more people would join you. Oh, that's nice. That's nice, he's already. But go in college, group of people, and stand up for them. And many Jews would join you. And even non-Jews would start wearing kippah and be with you because they are smart and on the right side. So it's so. Have you been in Taglit? Who has been in Taglit? Show me. How many people of you? Not enough. 2? 3? Okay. I have connection in Taglit. And another one. Oh. Okay. So you get my email. Anybody from you that have any difficulties, because you have to register, to put some down payment, small, you get it back afterwards, and you get 10 days of visit and learning the truth about your roots. And I'm sure when you come back, you walk proudly all over with a kippah and proud to be Jews. Because when you learn your roots, you learn a lot. You are connected to something in the ground, and you are a better person. You know, I meet a lot of Jewish kids in Jewish events, and they come to us, we have a line, and everybody say, it changed my life. So many times that I say, ICML. Everybody ICML. It changed my life. One day, one of our friends, who was a congressman, sent his daughter to Israel to birthright. So I told him, you'll see when she comes back, it will change her life. So we are talking with him, and he says, we ask him, well, did she say it changed my life? He say no. So we look down, so sad. And then he say, he wants to make Aliyah to Israel. Okay, so go there. And the most important thing, don't pay attention to them. They cannot kill you. No, maximum, learn a little bit self-defense, okay? But really, I am going all my life with my Magen David, and I stand up. Yes, I have security, but you don't know. I'm in Iran calendar, and here calendar. You never know. You have to be, one of the most important things in my life is to be proud of what I am. And I am proud Jew, Israeli American, and continue to be there. So another small version that I want to tell you, I want to thank the people that organized this event, and especially to Ed Russo, Yehuda Kaplun, and his lovely son, Moshe Kaplun. And here I'm starting the speech that I prepared yesterday, all day, because we have another speech to ISC. So we Jews are all brothers and sisters, though it may not always feel that way. Religious or secular, liberal or conservative, white collar, blue collar, Ashkenazi or Sephardic, at the end of the day, despite our differences and disagreements, we are a big Meshuganer family. Like siblings who go their separate ways, but reunite in time of joy or hardship. We are responsible for one another. When it matters, we look out for each other. This is because of our shared traditions, beliefs, experiences, and goals. Our sense of destiny as a community that spans the generations and the globe. It is also because history has not always been kind to us. By surviving persecution, genocide, and discrimination, we learned that we are few in numbers, but mighty when we march together with faith in our values and our vision. My friends, right now, right here, in this great United States, we are at such a moment. It may not seem that way. Being an American Jew, like being any American, is a wonderful privilege. I know this as a native-born Israeli who became U.S. citizen after marrying Sheldon, zichrono livracha, my beloved husband. Thank you. The security and prosperity and pride that this country offers are simply miraculous, a godsend. But we cannot take it for granted. The world is changing fast, and not always for the better. Division and confusion are lapping at the shores of this magnificent nation, eroding the common bonds of American strength and decency. It has given rise to open and ugly anti-Semitism, something none of us dreamt we should see here in our lifetime. And as the brave students in the audience know, it has turned supposedly elite university into propaganda factories where Jews are not welcome. It also threatens to undermine the U.S. alliance, a source of stability for both countries, at a time when so much of the Middle East is in chaos, when the Jewish state is in a fight for his life. My friends, my brothers and sisters, all of this should be on our mind ahead of November 5th. And you should already have made up your mind on who to vote for. Donald J. Trump. I am talking tachlis. You bet I am. Tachlis doesn't only mean bottom line or brass tacks. It comes from the Hebrew word tachlit. Tachlit, which means purpose. We Jews are a purposeful people. And President Trump is a purposeful man. He is a true friend of the Jewish people. He has helped craft Jewish faith and preserve Jewish continuity. It's not just because he is the father of a beautiful Jewish woman, Ivanka, and the grandfather of her beautiful Jewish children, Jared. It is also because he recognizes the justice of our 2,000-year-old cause. He understands it instinctively in his kishkes. He's seen a United States of America and an entire world that have gained so much from this tiny nation of Israel, and he says to himself, I like what I see. This is a president who keeps his promises. He promised to recognize Jerusalem as the Israeli capital. Promise kept. He promised to recognize the Golan Heights as Israeli territory. Promise kept. To rip up the disastrous nuclear Iranian deal. Promise kept. And to bring more peace to the Middle East. Promise kept. And once back in the White House, he will also keep his promise to help Israel win the current war without hesitation, without worrying about what the rest of the world might think. Because Trump does what is right, straight and simple. Tachlis. That's all we Jews are asking for. And that's why all of us Jews must vote for him. It is our sacred duty, in gratitude for everything he has done and trust in everything he will yet do. So now, are you ready to hear some tachlis from the man himself? Please join me in giving a warm Philadelphia welcome from the student from Philadelphia, full of brotherly love for our friends, our president, and our brother, Donald J. Trump. Yeah. You are good. You are the best. Okay. The best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You are the best.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you. I don't know if you know. Thank you very much. This is a great lady. This is a great one. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you very much, Miriam. I don't know if you know it. It's a great lady. This is a great lady. This is a great one. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. All right, let's sit down. Let's talk about Israel. Or Israel, as they say. I love the pronunciation. I love it. But you thank you very much, everybody. Great woman. All right, let's sit down. Let's talk about Israel. Or friend, and I've known you and Sheldon for a long time. We lost Sheldon, and nobody like him, right? You would say that. Nobody like him, but nobody like you either. And he's very proud of you right now. Thank you very much. And I'd also like to thank Rabbis Yehuda Kaplun and Yaakov Kaplun, Senators Rick Scott, doing well. Where's Rick? He's doing well. I saw a poll, and another one who's doing well is Ted Cruz. Ted, stand up, Ted. Thank you, Ted. Thank you. And Lindsey doesn't have to do well because he's got another few years to go before he runs. It's something nice about that. But Lindsey Graham is terrific, terrific guy. Bill Haggerty, who's fantastic. Bill, thank you very much. And Joni Ernst. Where's Joni Ernst? A terrific guy. Joni, thank you very much, Joni. Great, doing a great job. Those farmers love Joni. I'll tell you, she was tough, right? She came to see me, and I thought I made a deal, and then she said, no, 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 we want more, more, more. But that's what you're supposed to have, right? Good job, Joni, and you got it. Former Senator Norm Coleman. Norm, thank you. Thank you, Norm. You look good. And a spectacular person, Elise Stefanik. Spectacular. What she did to that woman at Harvard with the big, big fat glasses. That woman had no idea what was happening. That was beautiful to watch, actually. A friend of mine, Carlos Jimenez. Carlos, thank you, Carlos. Got a lot of power here. There's a lot of power here. You know, this is like the old days. Because frankly, there's been a movement going on. I call it AOC +3, but the +3 is a lot more. And we have to end that. We have to end it. We have to end it fast. I've never seen anything like it. John Carter, please. John, where's John? Thank you, John. Thank you very much. Good job. Mario Diaz-Balart. Mario, thank you. Thank you, Mario. Byron Donalds. Boy, he's a popular guy. He is. And he's a great guy with a great future. Good. I didn't see you back there. You didn't. He has so many pictures with me. He didn't need a picture. He doesn't want another picture. Ronnie Jackson. What a great guy. Think of this. He was an admiral, a great admiral, respected by everybody. Then he became the White House doctor, took care of maybe Bush a little bit, and Obama, right? And then Trump. And they asked him, who's the most healthy of the group? And he said, not even a contest. Who? Trump. Trump. In fact, he said Trump would live for 200 years if he didn't eat junk food. I don't know if I like that, but that was okay. Great doctor. Now he's a really popular congressman, and he's our friend. And when I had a little ear problem, he was there. He literally came from Texas, and he did a great job, and I appreciate it very much, Ron. Thank you. Because once you're a doctor, you're always a doctor, even if you're a congressman, I guess, right? Don't you think? Somebody who's been really spectacular, especially for the last few months. I don't know what happened to him, but boy, he likes me a lot better now than he used to. Michael Lawler. Am I correct in that? Where's Michael? Right? Something happened. But he likes me better now than he used to, and I like that because he's a good man, great man. Mike Flood. Mike, thank you. Virginia Fox. Virginia. Thank you, Virginia. Michael Waltz, who's doing a great job in defending all of us on television. He's doing a great job on television. And a spectacular woman, a beautiful woman. I'm not allowed to say that anymore because, you know, it usually puts you out of politics, but I've said much worse than that. But she's a beautiful woman, and she really is the most incredible family. And she came to me about endorsing someone in her area who had no chance, and I said, okay, we'll do it, against an incumbent Republican that I didn't like very much and probably didn't like me. So we took a chance, Mary, didn't we? Mary Miller, we took a chance, and our candidate won in a landslide, right? So that was great. We don't like having to do that, but in that case, we had no choice. Ambassador Lana Marks, who was terrific. Thank you, Lana. Good job. You did a great job as ambassador. West Virginia Treasurer Riley Moore. Thank you, Riley. Thank you. Going on to very big things, actually. Jacob Hellberg. Jacob, thank you. Thank you, Jacob. Great job. Somebody who's very talented, knows a lot about a lot at a very young age. Morgan Ortegas. Morgan. Thank you, darling. And also somebody who defends me so well, 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎. Elizabeth? Wow, I watched you last night, Elizabeth. You were brutal to this other person. They didn't have a chance last night, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We need all the defense we can get. And a friend of mine and a man who's actually a great environmentalist. He really is a great one. And he wrote a book on Donald Trump as a great environmentalist, which is actually true, but a lot of people don't know that. But I'm an environmentalist with common sense. I like buildings to have windows. You know, they'd like to close up all windows. The building should be built 90 stories tall, but that doesn't matter, but it can't have any windows. The things they're doing with the Green New scam is just unbelievable. 97 trillion. How can we do that, Ted? I think that's very doable. 97 trillion. Most people don't know what that means. Nobody knows. Nobody's ever heard of a number. To do the Green New scam the way they want it. 97, that's more than China, the United States, and every country in the world for the next 200 years has.
but they go along with it anyway. But he's a great gentleman and a friend of mine, Ed Russo. Where is Ed? I'll tell you, that's great that Ed is here. Wow. Before we begin, I just want to mention some polls that just came out, and I've decided to go back to doing this because they never release the polls when they're good, and they've been really good, and they don't release them. And unless one comes out, they had one that came out the other day where they interviewed 51% Democrat, 22% Republican. Trump's down by 6. I said, how the hell can you win on a poll like that? When you're down by they interview 40% more Democrats, and then they say, if you're down by 6, that means you're actually winning by about 15. But we don't go with that, but we do go with the respected polls, and we go with polls because they don't want to release them because they've all been pretty good. In the very, very, I think, accurate poll over the last 9 or 10 years, I think Rasmussen's been really one of the best, and it was just released a little while ago. I'm leading by 8 points against a woman that you cannot allow to happen. I mean, honestly, you are generally Jewish people. We have a lot of good Christians there that love Israel, by the way. In many ways, they love Israel more than Jewish people love Israel, which is shocking, but nevertheless, we'll take it, right? We have a lot of great Christians that love Israel, but we're up by 8 with Rasmussen. We're at 52 to 44, so that's a big one. And we're up by 11 with independents in Rasmussen also. Just came out. That's a lot because, as you know, Rick Scott, we were talking about it a little while, and independents are very important. And when you're up by that number, that's a pretty good thing. Then the Emerson poll, highly respected. We're up in Arizona. We're up in Wisconsin. And we're up substantially in Pennsylvania, and those are the 3 that they did. And in the New York Times poll even, which is shocking because, I wouldn't say they love me. I wouldn't say I love them either. But I'm up by 9 in the Midwest. That's a big one. And the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, we're up by at least 3 in Georgia. And CNN has us up. I love seeing like a CNN, and then we're up. So if you're up 5, you're probably up 20 or something. But in CNN, we're up 5 in Arizona. The Daily Express poll has us up 5 in all of the battleground states, which is great. So I say 47 days from now, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris. You have to defeat Kamala Harris. More than any other people on earth, Israel, I believe, has to defeat her. You know that? And I've never said this before. I'm thinking, Miriam, more than any people on earth, Israel has to defeat her. I really believe that it's a disaster for Israel. And you know why, and you've heard her statements. We're going to take back our country, and we're going to make Israel great again, and we're going to make America great again. We're going to make them both great again, greater than ever before. We've gathered today to talk about the scourge of anti-Semitism. Tonight, we're 2 weeks away from the 1-year anniversary of the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Without question, on October 7th, which would have never happened if I was president, by the way, I have to always preface it by saying it would have never, ever happened. Innocent men, women, children, and babies were tortured, maimed, kidnapped, and killed. It was an amazing sight, especially if you were able to see, and you don't want to necessarily see it, some of the tapes and film that was made of the atrocity. It was a wake-up call for the entire world, and you have to take it that it is a wake-up call. Get smart. Instead, even here in America, Jewish citizens have been forced to endure the worst outbreak of anti-Semitism in many generations. And so many people shockingly even deny the attack took place. This is a new thing. I saw it recently where they're interviewing people. They said, well, we don't know if there was an attack. I don't know. It's just so terrible. And, there were people I read many times during the Holocaust, we had people denying it. They were deniers. They said, we don't believe it ever took place. And it's a terrible thing when they say that. I never thought I would see anything like what is happening right now. I never thought you'd ever see a thing like this ever happen. It's beyond It's beyond belief. You know, 15 years ago, Israel was the strongest lobby, if you want to use the word lobby, had the strongest representation of people like this. These are great people, Miriam. But the strongest there was, if you said something about a Jewish person or something about Israel that was bad, you were out of politics. Unless your name was Ted Cruz, he could get through. I think Ted could get through, but maybe not. Maybe even Ted. But it's true. You said something about Israel that was bad. It was like, today, you have to fight. We all have to fight for Israel. I am so surprised to see it, but we're going to win the fight, so don't worry about it, okay? We'll win the fight. There are those that say it's very much like a long time ago when you could say anything, but all across our land you've seen Jewish Americans harassed and attacked and terrorized by anti-Semites and Hamas sympathizers. I can't believe what we've been witnessing over the last year. Actually, I've watched it in great detail. I've watched it, and I've watched it take place. It's hard to believe. Yet, despite presiding over this explosion of anti-Semitism, Kamala Harris has done absolutely nothing. She has not lifted a single finger to protect you or to protect your children or to even protect you with words. I'm here today to tell the Jewish American community that this ugly tide of anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas bigotry and hate will be turned back and crushed starting at noon on January 20th, 2025. Thank you. Thank you. It will be a bright new day for the Jewish community in America. No longer will you have to walk the streets in fear. You're walking the streets in fear. Can you believe it? Young college students are afraid to go to college. It's not something that anybody thought they would ever hear or see. No longer will you be threatened on your college campuses. No longer will you be discriminated against in college admissions. And no longer will your own government import jihadists from places that we don't even want to talk about. And they want Jew haters from overseas, and they let them come in and resettle in your communities right here at home, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. My promise to Jewish Americans is this: with your vote, I will be your defender, your protector, and I will be the best friend Jewish Americans have ever had in the White House. You know that. Thank you. But in all fairness, I already am. I think I already am. I don't have to think. In fact, I already am. I am the best defender you've had as president by far. I think there'd be no question. Miriam mentioned 4 or 5 of the things. Those, each individual thing. Oh, her husband would drive me crazy. You have to do this. You have to do that. You don't know what I had to put up with. She was like the calming influence. I said, Sheldon, I can't do that. It's too much. He said, no, no. And every time I got something, he'd immediately start with something else, right? He'd get something, always fighting for Israel and the Jewish people. But, you know, I had such great respect for it. It's true, though. She had to sometimes tell him, calm down. You just had a big victory. Let's celebrate. No, no, we have to immediately start. Let's see if we can do Golan Heights. How about Golan Heights? They've been trying to get it for 72 years. I got it done in about 15 minutes, okay? So. Even Sheldon couldn't believe that one, I'll tell you. Even Sheldon couldn't believe that one. He said, we just got Golan Heights. They didn't even ask for it. I actually gave you that one. You didn't ask for it, but I thought it was important. Ground zero for the outbreak of the anti-Jewish hate under Kamala Harris has been our college campuses. At UCLA, a few months ago, Marxist thugs dressed up like terrorists and created, quote, Jew exclusion zones, blocking Jewish students from entering parts of the campus. Can you imagine that? A week after the October 7th attack on Israel, anti-Semites at Miami University in Ohio sent Jewish students and staff an email that said, quote, "The best Jew is a dead Jew," end of quote. This is stuff that's not even thinkable. And the colleges do nothing about it, too, most of them. At Baruch College, a mob of Hamas supporters targeted a group of innocent Jewish freshmen at a welcoming dinner, shouted slurs and mocked them for the death of Jewish hostages in Israel. At Princeton University, radical activists displayed the Hezbollah flag very proudly. At Columbia, you watched that along with everybody else. It was terrible. They took control of the school buildings, these magnificent buildings. They beat the hell out of them, by the way. And the campus became so dangerous for Jewish students at the university, rabbi told them, "Please go home, go home." A Yale professor called October 7th an extraordinary day. It was a great day, he said. A Cornell professor said that these heinous attacks were, quote, exhilarating and energizing to everyone. Kamala Harris said that the radical demonstrators on college campuses were, quote, "Human emotion should be this way." This is her message. This is somebody that's among two people. So we started off with 350 million. Of course, we really don't know how many people we have in the country anymore. They're coming in so fast at the border. Many criminals, many from jails, prisons, many from mental institutions, from insane asylums, terrorists. They're pouring in at levels we've never seen before. And she was the border czar. She now says she wasn't, but she was still in charge of the border. She's the one that did it. And I will tell you, the message that she gave is wrong. It's dangerous, and it's unbefitting a candidate for the President of the United States. So think of it. Let's assume 350 million. We're down to 2. I told our great First Lady the other day, well, we're down to 2, and now we're leading in the polls by, I think, a lot. I'm calling on Kamala Harris to officially disavow the support of all Hamas sympathizers, anti-Semites, Israel haters on college campuses and everywhere else. So I'm calling on her to do that, just disavow. But she won't do it. You know that. She's not going to do it. She's going to talk. She's going to talk about nothing, talk about the weather. And sadly, and I have to say this, and it hurts me to say it, you're going to still vote for Democrats, and it doesn't make sense. I say all the time that any Jewish person that votes for her, especially now, her or the Democrat Party, should have their head examined. Yeah. It's true. And, you know, I just find it so hard to believe, and part of it is habit, I guess. And respectfully, with all that I've done, I'll maybe go over it quickly, but Miriam did it better than I could, all the different things with Golan, with all of the things that we did. And really, the one thing we didn't mention is I terminated the Iran nuclear deal, and that is, I think, the biggest of them all. But thank you. The problem is, we could have had a deal, any deal we wanted. Michael knows that better than anybody. But Biden and Harris, and nobody knows it. You know, when you say Harris, people say, who's Harris? You have to say Kamala, because nobody knows who the hell Harris is. That's her last name. But nobody knows it. Isn't it weird? How's Harris doing? Who the hell is Harris? How's Kamala doing? Oh, isn't it as weird? I never saw anything like it. So we'll just call it Kamala. But you really, you know, when you think about it, it's amazing that you're such nice people, because a lot of people wouldn't allow that to happen. We're joined today by several dozen Jewish American students from colleges across America. Thank you all for being here. And here's what I will do to defeat anti-Semitism and defend our Jewish citizens in America. My first week back in the Oval Office, my administration will inform every college president that if you do not end anti-Semitic propaganda, they will lose their accreditation and federal taxpayer support. Truth is, you don't have to do much after that. When you do that, it's going to work miracles. Please sit down. We will not subsidize the creation of terrorist sympathizers, and we're not going to do it certainly on American soil. We're not going to do it anywhere. Next, I will inform every educational institution in our land that if they permit violence, harassment, or threats against Jewish students, the schools will be held accountable for violations of the civil rights law. It's very important. Jewish Americans must have equal protection under the law. They're going to get it. At the same time, my administration will move swiftly to restore safety for Jewish students and Jewish people on American streets. Jews have been beaten on their way to synagogue in Los Angeles just recently, beaten on their way. Jewish American businesses have been vandalized, yet once again, the Harris-Biden administration has done absolutely nothing about it, doesn't even comment. Here in Washington, radical Hamas supporters tore down the American flag in front of Union Station, set it on fire, and hoisted the Palestinian flag, while police officers and they were spray painting at police officers and at the beautiful monuments surrounding the area and the flag, lions, people, and it was being in the construction business, this is a stone, it's limestone, that when you spray paint limestone, you'll see it in 100 years. They can take it off, but they can't really take it off. You'll see everything that they said in 100 years. It's a very porous stone. And what they've done is unbelievable. But I don't see them getting long sentences in prison like happened to other people. I don't see them even being approached or attacked in any way. They allow them to do it. But watch those limestones. I looked at them the other day, and that stone just sucks up that paint. It goes deep. You're going to see it in 100 years from now. Kamala Harris, let them go. She said, let them go. I will end this political violence and harassment once and for all. You know, when I was president, we had a moment where Washington was, in a sense, being attacked. They were trying to pull down statues, and I pulled out about an 1897 statute, very important, and it said that anybody touching, ripping down, or even trying to rip down a monument or a statue in the Capitol or anywhere else in the land up to the president will get 10 years in jail, no probation, no nothing. It's 10 years. It's not 10 years, but you serve 3 days. It's 10 years and you serve all 10 years. You couldn't get a thing like that passed today, I don't think. What do you think, Ted? Not too easily. If you got 2 days, it would be a miracle. No, it's 10 years. It was so old. I lifted up this. It was old and dusty, but it read beautifully. And I invoked it, and I had a speech. I said, here's the story. Anybody touching a statue, and it ended when they had Abraham Lincoln ready to be pulled over. You remember that? I said, Abraham Lincoln, now we're hitting Lincoln. And I read it, and I told people that anybody from this moment on that pulls down anything or even tries to pull down a statue, you go into jail for 10 years. And it was an amazing sight, Miriam. Everybody just dropped the ropes. The ropes were left. They dropped the ropes and they started walking out of town. I was watching thousands of asses from the back. And it was a beautiful sight. It was a beautiful sight. It was a beautiful sight. They just started walking in a different direction. And that was the last of the problem we had. Remember the big problems we were having? They actually wanted to rip down Thomas Jefferson Memorial. They didn't like Jefferson. They didn't like Washington. They didn't like Lincoln. They didn't like anybody. I will oppose, and I will make sure that you're protected. I will oppose all of the horrible things that they're thinking of doing, and they are thinking of doing bad things. It's not believable. I will also secure our borders from dangerous anti-American and anti-Semitic hate. Not only has Kamala thrown open our southern border, and again, she was in charge of your border. Now she's trying to say, well, I wasn't really the border czar. I never heard her disavow border czar before. But open to terrorists and criminals, she's supported unlimited migration from terrorist hotbeds into the United States, especially some of the hotbeds that most hate Israel. Under border czar Harris, armies of foreign Hamas sympathizers now march brazenly through our cities. They're literally marching in our cities, and they came from some very vicious, violent parts of the world, and they do not like Jewish people, and they do not like Israel, and they've let that be known, and we are not going to tolerate it. I will not let what happened to Paris, what happened to London, and what's happening to them, too, by the way. That's not over. What happened to Brussels happened here in America. It's not going to happen. We will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers and Hamas supporters from our midst. We will get them out of our country. I will ban refugee resettlement from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip. And we will seal our border and bring back the travel ban. You remember the famous travel ban? We didn't take people from certain areas of the world because I didn't want to have people ripping down and burning our shopping centers and killing people. But we're not taking them from infested countries. We will quickly rebuild the greatest economy in the history of the world for Jewish Americans and for all Americans. It will happen very quickly. We will defeat inflation, cut energy costs in half, and we will have something that some people in this room would be interested in, and frankly, some won't. But I'll say it anyway because you got those television cameras blaring. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our seniors. That's a good one for this room. This room likes that last one. And to help Americans who are buried in crushing credit card debt under the Kamala Harris economy, we will have a temporary 10% cap on credit card interest rates because they're paying 20 and 25% and they're getting decimated. So it'll be a temporary 10% cap. But look, this is the most important election in the history of the United States, and it's also the most important election in the history of Israel. The United States election is the most important election in the history of Israel, actually, if you think about it. How crazy does that sound? But it's true. With all I have done for Israel, I received only 24% of the Jewish vote. Now think of this. I really haven't been treated very well, but that's the story of my life. It's true. Think of it. But I understood that because I wasn't really tested. I wasn't a politician, and I won, but I understood that. And then I became president and was the best president ever for the people of Israel and for Jewish people, the best president ever. And I did more for them than any president has, and probably any president can do or will do, other than the current situation that's coming up, because I have a feeling that maybe that's going to be more than anything that was even done in the past, if you want to know the truth, because I think Israel's in big trouble. But I gave them, as Mir said, Golan Heights. I gave them the Abraham Accords, which is amazing. Nobody thought that was possible. 4 strong, powerful countries signed. Think of it. I would have had every country signed. I might have even had Iran signed, okay? As crazy as that sounds. You're kidding. You know that, Michael. I might have even had that. But we had peace in the Middle East. When I left, we had peace in the Middle East, but I had the Abraham Accords. And it was something that if Obama had done it, that would have been any prize, you named the prize, but they would have had every single prize ever devised by man. I did it. Nobody said a thing, and that's okay. I do the right thing. And I was helped a lot by Jared and a lot of other people that really understood what was going on. But I recognized the capital of Israel and opened the embassy in Jerusalem and got it built. Not just had it there, you know, the generals came in one of my days in office. They said, sir, could you sign this? What is it? It said, order for $2 billion to be spent on a embassy. that would have cost much more. I said, where's the land? We don't have it yet, sir, but we have a couple of terrible sites under negotiation. I'm good at real estate. These were bad locations in Jerusalem. I said, do we have anything? Let us look, sir. And they do. They had a site that was better than anything we had, a much better location, and we have it for nothing. So far, I'm doing a good job. Then I said, is there a building on it? Yes, there is, but it's not in use. I said, is it structurally sound? Oh, yes, very strong, very structurally sound. Is it setback? Because you want setbacks for embassies for things called bombs. Yes, it's setback, and it's on high. It's one of the best locations. I said, so we have it. So I dealt with David Friedman. I said, David, how much would it cost to renovate the building? Give me a good price. And he came back and said $400,000. I said, David, that's too low. This is the only time I've ever said this. Usually I say, it's too high, cut them in half. This time I said, that's crazy. From $2 billion, think of it, to $400,000. And I said, that's too low, we got to spend more. And we ended up spending a little bit more than that, very little. And a friend of mine has, a couple of you have heard this, Jerusalem stone in his office building. And every time I walk by the elevator bank, he says, look at this stone. It's Jerusalem stone, so expensive. And I said to him, a very successful guy, very rich guy, and he was complaining about the price. It's Jerusalem. But every time, after 20 times, I said, don't tell me it's Jerusalem stone again. Right on the elevator bank, beautiful stone, Jerusalem stone. So I'm there, and I say, listen, by any chance, talking to one of the contractors, I said, do you think you could use Jerusalem stone? Is it expensive? No, it's cheap as hell. We're in Jerusalem. And we built the whole building out of Jerusalem stone. And we did it very inexpensively, got it opened in about 4 or 5 months. You would still be talking about your $2 billion building, Ted. That building would be under talk for about 5 more years, and then they'd spend $5 billion and it would look like hell. This building is better. You'll never do better. Someday they'll rip it down and do some monster. But I was very proud we got it built. And most importantly of all, in my opinion, because I asked, what's the best? Golan Heights, is it? Is it Jerusalem, the capital, moving the embassy and all of that? What is the best? What's the best? Is it the Abraham Accords? And some friends of mine that are very smart, no, not even close. The best thing you ever did for Israel is you terminated the Iran nuclear deal, which was the worst deal ever made for Israel or for any country. That was the best. That's true. That was more important. Remember, that was more important than any of the other things, of the many other things that we did. The problem is that Harris, Kamala, and Biden did absolutely nothing with it. You could have made after the election, which we had a very bad thing happen with that election. Think of it. If that election were proper, you wouldn't have had Russia attacking Ukraine. You wouldn't have had October 7th. Would have never happened because, as you know, Iran had no money at that time. None. Zero. Nothing. They had no money to fund. There were stories about it, that there was no money for terror. You wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had that horrible leaving of Afghanistan in such a way, not the leaving because we were ready to leave. We would have left before them, but we were leaving with strength and dignity. That was the worst. I think it was the lowest day, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. Because of that, probably that's why Putin went in. He would have never gone in with me, though. But all of these things, and on top of everything else, I gave them more than $20 billion, Israel. And I said, when I did it, I said, I'm the best friend they ever had. And still, in 2020, so remember, I got 25%. Now I did all of these things, and I got 29%. Think of it. So I wasn't treated right. But it's not me that's been treating badly. It's Israel, because you can make a big difference in the vote. You're going to be a big factor in the vote. I will say places like Miami and different places were great. But honestly, I went from 25 to 29. And based on what I did and based on my love of the same love that you have, I should be at 100. I should be at 100. But let me give you the bad news. A poll, I just told you how good the polls are, but we need every vote we can get. The current polling has me with Jewish citizens, Jewish people, people that's supposed to love Israel, after having done all of that, having been the best president, the greatest president by far, a poll just came out, I'm at 40%. That means you got 60% voting for somebody that hates Israel. And I say it's going to happen. It's only because of the Democrat hold or curse on you. You can't let this happen. 40% is not acceptable because we have an election to win. So after all of this, I went from 29 to 40%. And people that are smart said to me, friend of mine Jewish, friend of mine loves Israel, loves everything about your religion and about your country, your place. He said, I can't believe it's happening. It's sad. And he started to cry, actually. He started to cry. With all of this, and he's a tough cookie. I don't think he cried since he was a little tiny baby. Maybe then I don't think he cried. I don't think he cried then, Miriam. But I will put it to you very simply and gently. I really haven't been treated right, but you haven't been treated right because you're putting yourself in great danger, and the United States hasn't been treated right. So if I don't win this election, and I've been very good, you know, they say Trump's been right about everything. I've been right about a lot of things. Even Ted will admit that. I've been right about a lot of things that a lot of people said, no, that won't happen, but a lot of bad things happened, and some good things I've been right about too. And I only want to be, so I'm not going to call this as a prediction, but in my opinion, the Jewish people would have a lot to do with a loss if I'm at 40%. If I'm at 4, think of it, that means 60% are voting for Kamala, who in particular is a bad Democrat. The Democrats are bad to Israel, very bad. They'll never change because they have a section of their party now which has become amazingly and quickly very powerful vote-wise. I mean, Chuck Schumer is a Palestinian. Who would have thought that was going to happen? What the hell happened to him? I saw him the other day. He was dressed in one of their robes. No, that'll be next. No, Chuck Schumer is Hamas all the way. I don't know what the hell happened to him. If you support him, you're crazy. I have never seen his change may be bigger than Kamala on fracking in Pennsylvania, okay? But if we don't win this election, Israel, in my opinion, within a period of 2 to 3 years will cease to exist. It's going to be wiped out. That's what's going to happen. It's a tough thing to say, but what difference does it make from my standpoint? I have to tell you the truth, and maybe you'll be energized because there's no way that I should be getting 40% of the vote. I'm the one that's protecting you. These are the people that are going to destroy you, and you have 60% of the Jewish people essentially voting for them. If I do win, Israel will be safe and secure, and we will stop the toxic poison of anti-Semitism from spreading all over America and all over the world. We'll get it stopped. But if I don't win, I believe Israel will be eradicated, and you can't let that happen, and I don't think you will let that happen. So you have to, Rabbi, you have to get everybody together, and you have to get them to vote, because it's craziness to say I'm at 40%. And when I heard that number today, it just came out today, when I heard that number today, I think it was insulting to our country. It was insulting to Israel. You know, it's very interesting. They did a poll in Israel. I'm like at 99% favorable. I could run for, right now, I could run for any office in Israel. In Israel, they love me. Here, not so much. But they do love me in Israel. Miriam, I'm at 99%. Everybody loves me. I could run for prime minister. Would you like me as your prime minister? But I have to learn your language. That's a tough language to learn. I have to learn it in about 3 months. I have to learn it very quickly. But no, I'm most popular person in Israel. But here it doesn't translate. It's a strange thing. So we have to save Israel. Look, you're here for a reason. We have to save Israel. This is no longer games. This is no longer games. This is the saving of Israel. And I'm going to mention it. We're making a big statement in a little while at another conference, also very important. And I'm going to mention it again and again. I believe that Israel will be wiped off the face of the earth if I don't win. And that's a big statement. That's a horrible statement to make. And it's just the way I feel. And a lot of people in this room agree with me. Because look at what's happened in the last 2 years. I have never seen anything like it, where something has gone so down so fast, where even Jewish people are protesting in these groups. They're Jewish people. People wearing yarmulkes are in these groups that are protesting with 100,000 people. So they have to change their way, because with your vote, you can reject anti-Semitism in our schools, in our communities, in our foreign policy, and in our immigration system. But all of that starts by rejecting Kamala Harris at the ballot box. She is anti-Israel and she is anti-Jewish, and you got to get smart to it. And with that, I have great love and great respect for so many of the people in the room. I have so many friends in this room. I fought so hard for you, but it's time that you fight the real fight. And the real fight is to save Israel. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
I think that's it. I didn't expect this, but I'm glad we watched this. I think it's over. Hold on. Yeah, I guess that's it. It wrapped it up. All right, Mr. President. All right, folks. I want to open up the lines. If you guys want to talk about this real quick, if you guys want to call the show and get any comments on this you'd like to say, I want to open up the lines here. 844-900-2229. I'm glad we watched this. I'm glad we watched this, and let me tell you why. Let me just connect everything here. Appreciate everybody who joined. You guys watched the speech with me. I wasn't expecting. I didn't even know it was gonna be this topic and all this. But I'm very glad we watched this. Very interesting. Everybody needs Trump. It's so clear they need Trump. Everybody needs Trump. You guys notice? Everybody needs Trump. And so that's where he was speaking in Washington, D.C. at this Israeli-American Council National Conference, okay? And it sounded like there were a bunch of students there too, young people, students in American schools. And he was there talking about anti-Semitism. It is so interesting to see reactions, all this talk about anti-Semitism. There was this whole thread, this whole mess going on X, on Jesse's account, just as this was starting. It's like anti-Semitism. It's getting talked about more. And you heard about it in school. You heard about the Jewish people and World War Hitler. And now it's like this being talked about more and more. And it's like not the first time either. Isn't that weird? It's like biblical. Isn't that strange? It's like the world hasn't really changed from the days of kings and pharaohs now. Come on. That's a joke. No, I'm joking. They were pharaohs, right? And it's so weird. It's like they're being talked about more and more, and the people are so blind. All the talk around it, it's so interesting. They got to be the chosen people. How can you not see that? It's like in the Bible, the chosen, they could do great things, huh? Great things, and great wrong even. But it's like as they're being talked about more, world conflict seems to be afoot. It's so interesting, and so at this anti-Semitism event, and they're talking about a lot of anti-Semitism and protecting Jews, protecting Jewish students in schools, and protect, and look at all these things. They brought out these rabbis talking about anti-Semitism, and they brought out this one guy, and he's all like, everything's about peace. You got to be peaceful and harmony, and the Torah says there's biblical principle of countenance and peace and harmony and yay. And then you got this other rabbi, this younger guy with looking all squirrely at the camera, like looking like Kamala. Why are you so nervous? Just like throat getting all itchy. He's like forgetting his words. He's like, anti-Semitism is rampant. It's so horrible. This guy just couldn't let it go. It's so horrible. It's all this anti-Semitism and all the horrible things. It's just 100 years ago. And even now, this guy's saying, even now in Congress, there's people in U.S. Congress who think it's okay for Jews to be murdered and babies to be beheaded. It's like, I don't know of a single, like, yeah, maybe they support Palestine or something. Like, but there's not a single U.S. I guess maybe I'm playing semantics here. Like, they may support the people ignorantly or actively that are okay with the murders of Jews and all that, but it's like, dude, you can quit it with the emotions, right? And he's all like, it's better for a Jew to walk around I don't even know where he said, some freaking desert place as opposed to America's universities. Like, since when? He says, but good must win. Anyways, he says, hating Jews is becoming the norm. It's like, wow. He's like shocked that it's becoming a norm to hate a group of people. I don't know where you've been, if you've been in America for the past, my whole life I grew up, but we've been told that white people are like the source of all evil in America, right? So just reminding you there. It was interesting, these two rabbis they brought out, like, that's like Christians in the sense that they're both blind. They're both blind, and that's how all people are so blind. Like the rabbi who was like, oh, it's all about peace and the Torah, and it's just biblical principles of peace. And this other guy's like, it's evil what they've been doing to the Jews. It's like, so isn't everybody like that? Isn't that funny? And Trump said it himself, you know. Trump said it himself. He's there in his speech, and he's mentioned this a couple times, and he really stresses it in this one. He says the Israel lobby used to be so strong you couldn't say a single thing about them, or you'd be out of politics. And he starts joshing on Ted Cruz. Except you, Cruz, maybe you. Well, maybe not even you, he says. I'll tell you right now, they don't like him saying that. They don't like him saying that, you know, you're not supposed to say they run stuff. I mean, they could say it about themselves. You can watch, they put out articles on Haaretz and the Times of Israel to say, we run this, we run that. They don't like him saying that. I'll tell you that right now. But he said it himself. This lobby, the people, whatever you want to say, their influence and strength remains. And you want, and so that's what that's why I'm trying to express how, look, it's just interesting that people see and judge Trump like, look at this cuck. Like, I don't know how you could see him and be like, look at this cuck. He's clearly an American legend navigating a very captured America. I mean, look at all the glazing that has to be done on the anti-Semitism, okay? But everyone needs Trump. It's so interesting. Everyone needs him. And the Jews, Mary Madelson, others, they need America. And you got to work with these people. They're obviously very smart. And look, I see Miriam Adelson get up there and talk about, she tells these young students, you know what, about this walking in the desert, whatever place, as opposed to American colleges. You know what? No. Wear your kippah anyways. Stand up for what you believe in, even if you stand alone. And in many ways, Jews are they're being criticized heavily, even by the right wing, for doing that, for doing something that they wish they could do themselves. Do you understand what I'm saying here? How can you be so jealous when you watch someone like Miriam Adelson? Because the argument is about, okay, Jews, it seems like these guys just want what's good for them. But isn't that what all the people criticizing the Jews want for themselves? So why be jealous of that when you see someone like Miriam Adelson, for example? Now, it is interesting. She looks at these students and she says, and you guys, which I imagine are probably even American students who grew up in America, born in America, they have Jewish parents. And she points to them and says, and you guys, you got to find your roots. Find your roots. She says to these kids, maybe most likely born in America. She says, I'm a proud Israeli American. Look, she like was really into her whole thing was about Israel, and then she throws in the America thing. I don't buy it. And it's so interesting what she said about we Jews are all brothers. They're all brothers. The secular, the Ashkenazi, the this, the that, the secular even. We're all Jews. We're all a family. I know a lot of people that's like this criticism. And I understand the criticism when it pertains to American politics, but again, how can you be jealous and so blind like that? Isn't that what you want for yourself? And also goes the other way. Think about it like this. I think in some part, Miriam Adelson really does see Trump as this savior, this someone who will be integral to Israel going forward. Whatever you want to think about that. And so it goes the other way. She's trying to bring all these Jews who don't vote for Trump, who wouldn't vote for Trump, like he was saying. I want to get into that. He was making that clear. He's like really stressing that, like, hey, I haven't been treated well by you guys. I'm here and I got to do all this glaze fest, but you guys aren't treating me right. And so, that's an interesting thing I was thinking about, okay? She mentions Sheldon Adelson and all that. And that's an interesting thing. Her husband, who Trump speaks about this heavy influence that Sheldon would have on him and his influence and his money and what he wanted for Israel. Now, Sheldon Adelson, born in America, big. I don't even know how he got his wealth, but I just don't know that much about him. But I know that he had a lot of influence in American politics with his money for Israel. And Jewish man married Miriam Adelson, an Israeli Jewish woman who became American through that marriage, all that. Look, I just was thinking about that relationship that Trump was describing and how Sheldon is just getting one thing, and then Trump would be like, I can't do that. And then as soon as Sheldon would get something, he'd move on to the next thing, relentless and pushing for what he believed in, right? And Trump was able, look, what I'm trying to express is that money talks. And it feels like a lot of people, especially the critics, wouldn't know anything about that. You guys really wouldn't know anything about that, about making deals with what you got to make deals with. You don't even know what you got to make deals with. And Trump did it in 15 minutes. So we have a boss representing us. Kings, literal kings over hundreds of years. They're the most powerful kings in the Western European monarchies, and they still had to deal with Jews. You know what I mean? They had large segments of their population that they had to barter and deal with. Okay, hey, can we get your support? This is, you know what I'm saying? Take that how you will. Take that however you will. I say they're just high IQ people. I don't know how else to put it, but these are the things I'm thinking about. He's telling them 40% is not acceptable. You guys supporting me 40%? This is not acceptable. And I appreciate the energy from Trump. It's an interesting thing to see, the things that have to be navigated. How did Israel get so strong? But I think it requires a strong man to navigate it all and work with the people you got to work with. I think in many ways, Israel and America do want the same things. I don't know if I've really been shown in some ways. I don't know if I've really been shown otherwise. But anyways, I don't want to say too much of stuff I don't know. But here's what I do know. How blind people are and angry. Can I quickly mention before I go on that? And you can call me, by the way, 844-900-2229. Mention Trump's Jerusalem stone story. You're basically calling the Jews total cheapos in front of them, to their faces. It's I'm imagining it like an old king or old Arab king, again, like they've had to do in history, deal with their Jews. And he's before the tribunal of Jews, and he's just got their support. They're laughing it up, and he also calls them cheap. And it's just funny. I appreciate Trump for that. He's like, yeah, this guy tried to sell you Jerusalem stone, and he tells me it's Jerusalem stone. It's amazing. It's expensive. And Trump, a developer and builder, asks about it. Apparently, it's cheap. It's everywhere. And when Trump talks about anti-Semitism, Okay, it's a glaze fest, but he said I know he means equal protection. You want to call it cope, whatever. But he even said himself he means equal protection when he's saying that. That's what he means when he's talking about anti-Semitism. He equates it to protect how he protected the U.S. statues, and he says MAGA for Jews, it's for all Americans. Okay, that's just how I feel about it. Just a lot of I don't know, but I do know how blind people are. They it's just like, pledge for the Jews, or you recoil. You guys recoil if someone says you love the Jews. It's like, oh, what? Unfollow Jesse. Oh, you love the Jews? Did you guys see this? It's so interesting. Someone's been off the goop on X.com, and it may have been Jesse himself, maybe through, the help of one such report that you may know of. But look, he was getting down on X, Jesse Lee Peterson, and where did it start? He basically tweeted something so controversial: to love the Jews. Where is it? Los jodidos. I disavow. That's a joke. Don't kick me off YouTube, jodidos. Wait. That's like Spanish for like screwed. But it sounds like Jews. How will be forgiven by God if you don't forgive? Where is it? Most people live in hell. You guys got to follow JLP Talk on X. Do you love the Jews? He asks. 290,000. Jesse, don't lose your honorary status, they tell him. Wow. Yes, and I pray they stop rejecting Christ. Do you love the Muslims? So anyways, these are just some of the comments, but let's it looks like the account has been going off even further, so I need to scroll down more. So someone's been off the goop lately on X through Jesse's account. Can you imagine buying a walkie-talkie and it blows up on you? That's amazing. Here it is. How can you love God and not love the Jews? God said, love your enemy, angry Christians with no love. You got a lot of people in there. They're like, what? Jews are heretics by definition. Jews hate Christ. They hate God. And the response has been amazing. One that was it had a whole bunch of people here commenting, Jesse is ignoring this one. He doesn't want to answer this one, but he does answer it. From Gentile News Network. Jesse, do you love Hitler? Yes, Jesse says. Love your enemies. And it's just so funny to see everybody go off. The account lost a lot of followers just for saying Jesse loves Jews. It got a lot of engagement, so we appreciate it. But it's an interesting one. It gets a lot of the Christians. Loving your enemy, that one's like, it's like they missed that one. Loving your enemies, loving all people. Yeah, what do you guys think? Tell me what you guys think. 844-900-2229. I sincerely see him as an American legend navigating what is becoming clearer and clearer, a huge whale of influence, which is, like Trump himself said, the Israel lobby. And even, but not just that, but also being like a man where defending what's just like good and logical and right, and what I think is not foreign to him either. Like, like Jesse even says it. They go back. They say they go back. The Brits. You're gonna tell me it was just like, I don't know, conspiratorial influence that They duked it out in the British. I mean, I wasn't there, but they duked it out for the British mandate for Palestine. They had a whole thing about it, and it wasn't just. Anyways, some of it is anchor baby conjecture, but it's, tell me where I'm wrong. Anything I haven't covered, anything I didn't, any angle here. I was writing notes, and it felt like so much to talk about. Hey, yeah, 2-3 callers just tried calling me. You guys didn't want to get auto screened. Just speak to the robot, okay? Don't worry, don't be afraid. I have an auto screener. You guys skip the auto screener so you guys aren't on hold. Call back, like 3 of you called. If the robot talks to you, don't worry, speak to the robot. It's friendly. Tell it what you want to talk about. It'll put you on hold, and then I'll talk to you. What's chat saying? Okay, I've just been talking. I was watching Trump, now talking. People are trying to call. What is my chat saying? Because I wouldn't even be surprised if even in my chat, people say, "Oh, I love the Jews," and you're just like, "Ooh!" Suddenly you're like, "What? Do you mean you want war with Iran?" Which, by the way, it looks like it might happen. Look, I don't know what the heck Trump is saying when he's saying, what did he say? The future. Future. What the heck? I wrote this note somewhere. He was saying something about, and what? Hey, you guys are voting for me. Like, this is crazy. You guys are giving me 40%, and I'm here doing all this. That's not enough, and especially for what is gonna happen in the future. He says. I'm like, what? Look, he says he believes it can be done. That making these allies is what's required to do what he envisions to be make America great again. There's a lot I'm ignorant about, but so I don't want to go and make other claims here. But it seems to be clear that at least for Trump, that this is the right course of action and the allies that need to be made. And I can sit here and be all smart. I've been hearing a whole bunch of smart pundits and smart people who know a lot about politics who've been following it for a long time, since they were 14. And look, they're really smart. They got really interesting things to say. But what the heck do you know about money talks and having to make deals with what you got to make deals with? So that's as far as I can say. As far as I can say is that's what Trump thinks is right. And I don't know what, like, let's leave it. I will leave the rest of that. I don't know. Call me 844-900-2229. The Discord is active. I am in the Discord. I think I got somebody here actually.
Ned, this is John in California.
Thank you for your call, John. I mean, well, you're actually hitting up the Discord, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I just turned off the YouTube audio, so thank you for helping me test this.
It works, man, and thank you for being part of the Discord. If I'm ever in the One at a Time channel, you just hop in and you talk to me if you have something to say, and if you have something to say to me and the stream.
Yeah, right now I wanted to say about the Israel thing and how you're kind of implying like the Jewish paradigm over there, and we're just watching it, right?
Say that again.
And I think
you cut out there for a second. Could you say what you just said again?
I think that God is going to work some pretty interesting thing with Israel, and that Trump is going to be tied into that. Pretty funny. Like, I mean, Israel's right there, and there's no oil like right now. I personally think that God might dry up the Arab oil, and then they'll strike it rich. And I believe that, or not believe, I kind of I think that Israel doesn't need America as much as America will eventually need Israel.
You think Israel doesn't need America until as much as America will eventually need Israel? So until that eventually comes about, does Israel need America more?
It's not really, and that's the big illusion, I think. Or what? I mean, I'm not trying to say I think too much.
Yeah. I'm trying to stop that too, man.
Bro.
Yeah, no, don't. Let's stop with weak language, man. But you're saying,
Thank you.
You're saying that you believe that Israel does not need the U.S. as much as the U.S. will eventually need Israel. But until that time, do you think Israel needs America?
Like, obviously, in current politics, there's been the kind of ongoing steady agreement of like, here's some arms, we're going to keep each other's stockpiles even about, we're going to help you with refueling, et cetera, et cetera. And so for us to try to just dry up that part of I'm trying to use better language, the status quo when things get hot is kind of weak. So anyway, back to the thing. Israel's strength is going to really compound, and that a nation's strength is tied to oil. And it's funny that Israel's right over there, and they don't have oil, but just everyone else just around them does. Isn't that silly?
I don't disagree. It's my impression as well from the. I don't want to act like I got this perfect mastery of all these things, but from the things I've seen,
yeah, I'm not me neither.
Bibi Netanyahu's Greater Israel Plan and all the trade that they're working on, I'm coming to learn there's a connection with Russia, Israel. Like, that's not the opposite side. There's actually a connection. But anyways, and their location geographically being at the center of so much trade, it's not a ridiculous claim to see this rise in Israel's preeminence.
Strength. Yeah, there's strength. What I do know that I can, from just common knowledge research I've seen, Israel has a lot of tech stuff. There's a big Intel research facility there. They make a lot of auto parts. And I guess if presuppose, there's some Christian prophecy jazz out there, but I don't even want to get sucked into that. I'm just here and right now in my little studio. Very grateful to help test this microphone. Thank you.
It sounds. I was gonna say your microphone sounds amazing, but look, here's how I see it. Basically, in my ignorance, this is how I kind of like put it together. All this. You just mentioned Christian prophecy, and you're alluding to basically an alliance. Not based on reason and money and real tangible things, but things that could result in crazy conflict. Right?
I know there's some.
So, but I'll put it like this: I feel like it seems to me like there is a unique position right now in that you're saying Israel doesn't need America, and I don't know too much enough to say when Israel has needed America or not, but it seems clear when you see Miriam Adelson, when you see all these people and the way they're talking about Trump, it becomes quite clear to me that they actually do need Trump. They need America, but they need Trump really more than anything right now because, the critics will say is because he's cucked, he's going to give them whatever they want. But the point is that October 7th happened, and a whole bunch of people in America flipped. A whole bunch of them, okay? A whole bunch of students, a whole bunch of people flipped, and now there's this element that has been actually growing, maybe even under the nose of American Jews and others and people with influence, and they haven't even noticed. And boom, it came out October 7th. They're out here freely. They're out there protesting. They're like, we don't like the Jews. And so there's an interesting crossroads here where Trump resides. So I think they do need him, especially it's clear in the way they talk about him and everything.
Yeah, when you put it that way, that makes a lot of sense. I was just thinking military with just the hardware. Now with the politician, the man who actually would probably be the most to stand up for it when you compare other presidencies without wasting a lot of time on that. It'll be something to watch where you see Israel just holding its ground. They've kind of accomplished what they've wanted to do as far as their mission, really close with the last few hostages, etc. And so now we're at this point where our political system is doing its seasonal thing, pretty much.
Mhm.
And now, we got nothing to worry about. We're just grooving. That's what I would say. And most people were going to want to react, and all this stuff will be happening over there. And even still, everything's going to be just fine. That's what I believe, or what I kind of just resting upon.
And what
There's
makes you say that?
Because even both scenarios, it's covered. And that's why
Do you mean domestically or like over there? Because you mentioned over there.
And when you see this mess, and we were just trying to imply some of these things, we've learned in bond stuff like that, as all this stuff is happening, you're just cool as a cucumber.
I mean, I don't know where you're coming from, but I'll break it down like this. I agree in that individually we're cool as a cucumber, I do believe. I think domestically we should be, is what I'm trying to say. And I think domestically speaking, I don't know if there's kind of like two directions before us with Kamala and Trump. But what will happen tomorrow? Should Kamala be president tomorrow and we get 4 years? I don't know if domestically things will change too much, but internationally, I mean, I don't really trust anybody. They seem to all be egotistical. You see some of our officials out there talking to these, they call them dictators. It doesn't seem like anyone's got a handle of it. I really only trust Trump, and even with Trump, as we've just saw, there's this thing he has to navigate, and they're very pushy, like Sheldon Adelson, like, hey, I want this and I want this, and so you understand. I don't trust anybody but Trump So I don't know about hunky dory in the international world. It's actually getting crazier and crazier.
I'm not saying that Kamala is acceptable by any means. No, not at all.
And the international situation is getting crazy. It's not grooving and chilling.
Let's say you run it like this. World War III. You got like Kamala going in there, allegedly winning, right? The too big to rig aspect that Trump has always been making sure we are aware of on that other front. If it comes to the realization where there's extreme voter fraud, to the point where
you're saying, I missed what you. Be careful with what you say, man. On elections and all that. Just
Roger. Let's say there's the Kamala, etc. And then there's
I personally don't know anything about this, folks. Look, YouTube, like, this has been, I heard that this was proven false, okay, YouTube? But go ahead. You're talking about shenanigans?
Yeah. So like, we're just trying to if we expect the worst case scenario of either situation, either foreign or domestic, we've got our election 50-50, one or the other. At least we know that. It's 50-50, one or the other. We want Trump. Trump's our guy. Then on the international scene with Israel, which is the other main topic, if the things blow up with the whole Iran proxy situation and things just go let's say all those nations all turn on Israel, which we expect them to, according to Christian prophecy, even if you're just secular and you're just looking at this, pretty likely. And then that happens, you're like, okay. And then all these things are going down. We've got shenanigans domestically, all those different ways. I don't know. I don't think it's I used to be so critical of Israel myself, and I kind of changed my ways. So that's all I wrote to say. But anyway, thank you for helping me test my microphone.
No, I appreciate your call, John, and talk that. Hey, what made you such a critic, and what made you turn away from that? Man, if you want to say.
We'll keep it simple. My parents kind of pushed some of those things on me. We'll say.
Are you Muslim?
No. We grew up. We were forced to be Buddhist, pretty much.
Oh, interesting.
We were forbidden. I was the other caller on Punchy. Forbidden to be.
Oh, interesting.
Around Christians, right?
Yeah.
And then what else? And then so they were like, they didn't tell me why I should hate the, or at least have a disliking for Jewish like things, but that was what the parents expected, right? And I grew up, and then I just had some ignorant views, and then realized I was like how ignorant and stupid it is. And at least the people in my just being around the things that were supportive of my interest, radio stuff, they were just Jewish. I'm like, man, that's kind of dumb to hate someone that is so patient with me. Right?
So what? Yeah, what was the, if you can say, what were the ignorant? What were some of the ignorant views? Just like hating Jews, basically.
For like just like stereotypical like geopolitical reasons, and it's just really like a waste of time. And then I realized it's like, you know what, this is just, I have to just drop all those preconceived things, even though like I'm like, you know, if anyone tells me like, well, this factoid, you're preaching to the choir, you know, I just and so
that's interesting, man.
Thank you.
Was it like related to anger or anything like that, and then turning away from maybe that was part of turning away?
I'll tell you this, that even the perspective, another colleague in the radio profession is just like a layman doing pirate stuff, but we coincidentally knew the same Jewish guy that was in the Pasadena area where Jake does some of his B-roll, coincidentally. And I was like, why, asking my radio colleague, I was like, why do you hate Jews so much? And we're like both friends with Mr. Hank.
Oh yeah.
Hank, the Hank Landsberg. We'll just call him Mr. Hank.
Gotcha.
Right, we're gonna keep it on the low.
No problem.
And so I was said,
you don't need to put out details. We'll go on.
Yeah. I said, why he had some business deal that went sour. I was like, that's nothing to fuss about. Like, just who cares? It was like decades ago.
Huh.
So I just saw the similar pattern.
Yep.
You'll see like this
anger
leftover.
Makes you blind. Anger makes you dummy. It makes you a dummy. I'll say this,
Man.
geopolitically, my impression of the Jews in Israel is that they're like really they're just like get their way. And in some ways like Miriam Adelson, where it's like they're just standing for what they believe in, and people are jealous of that. And then in other ways, they're like that second rabbi, just afraid. And to encompass what I'm trying to say is my impression geopolitically is they get what they want, but they're so pushy that they may be bringing a lot of problems on themselves. And now all of a sudden their problems, I mean, look, they vote liberal. They love this, they, like even Miriam Adelson says, across different families, they really do believe many of the same things, and they want this egalitarian society. And now the same egalitarian society has turned on them. The Browns.
Can I say
the Browns? And so
can I say
just to summarize, now they need a man like Trump to help them out, and so that's my impression, geopolitically speaking. And the hatred, man, makes you stupid. Go ahead. You were trying to say?
Can I say something that came from a Christian source? It's just a phrase they say, and this is not really I'm trying to just drop completely everything to the abyss, nothingness, and then I'm just letting go all the way, right? So goes Israel, so goes America. Like, if we just, no matter what it is, like if they're supposed to be in the enemy category, or I don't even want to know. I'm just going to love them all, hardcore, right? And I hadn't had any issue. Like, I mean, I had a fun moment where I had my Jewish homegirl friend shake the hands of a Palestinian guy that said, the Jews, I throw rocks at them. And he lived over there. And it was a cafeteria moment. Like, hey, shake this guy's hand. And so anyway, there's no reason to not love them.
I agree, man. Look, I honestly agree. I totally agree with that. I even where my reason comes in and all that is like, I don't know, when it comes to politics and it comes to words like anti-Semitism, it just doesn't work on me. So I really I apply it equally, life on all. So I don't have this, how do I put it? I guess allegiance when someone says you just have to support something that doesn't.
That's when it's weird.
I still ask why. But that being said, I totally agree with you, and I'll even go as far as saying that I haven't really been proven wrong. No one has really given me any good reason not to believe that Israel really is kind of like the West in a sense over there. You know what I mean? And that
You mean
I
like
think
they?
I think
do
we
they
should own
represent Western civilization over there, like enough.
Yeah, like or an extension of some sort, or you know, if we're gonna side with somebody, we should side. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I really haven't been convinced otherwise on that, even intellectually.
That's interesting.
On the
That's
love,
interesting.
do you think I'm wrong on that? Like, that's just my impression. What do you think about that?
Well, I'll say this, just like, because I'm an airplane nerd like you,
Yes.
for sure. Okay. And like, all I know, I'm going to try to like focus on not saying like as much. So thank you again. I know that it, from one of my aviation interest shows, the nation that had the most exposure to the combat action, like the opportunity, even like engage or whatever, do the fly fun, do cool stuff in the airplane. Amazing. Yes, that nation is Israel. They had the cool opportunity to fly, do fun things. That's just dandy. How do I say
right
that?
on, John. Hey,
Yeah. Well,
anything else
thank
you
you
wanna
for
talk
helping me
about
with
real
this,
quick?
Mike. Yes. Oh, anything else? I don't know. Just make sure you go hit up the. I want to get one of them tie-dye versions of the your beta mail shirt.
Oh,
from the GLP
big
store.
time, man. Yo, yeah, rebuildingtheman.com/stores. Big time,
Yeah.
man. They're up. If there's if product missing there, let me know. Like, hey, this you don't have this in the tie dye. You don't have this in this color. It might just be a click away.
Yeah. I do definitely like, because I was looking at the books on Amazon, and I'm like, okay, I wanted the pamphlet, and like I go and find out that they sell the pamphlet. Y'all sell the pamphlet
Yes.
on there, and if I buy it from the Bond page, which is more fun, I can request an autograph. So
yes, you
that'll be
can. Man, thank you for that, John. Appreciate your
Very
call,
cool.
sir. Well, well, I mean, you're just calling me on the Discord, but I'm just gonna kick you off the Discord, put you in the general.
Kick me out, bro. Blow me.
Sorry, in the middle of his thing. Look, you can have criticisms. There's so much the anchor baby doesn't know. I don't just say things. I don't just, you know me. I don't just, maybe it's because I grew up as an anchor baby. I don't have this allegiance. Look, and I don't doubt that, you know, Israel, Jews, and the Christians have this thing. But I don't, phrases like, they're just our ally. You just have to, look, there can be positive criticisms. But you guys cringing at loving the Jews?
I love Jews. Jews are amazing people. Fuck that shit.
You guys cringing and saying they're not amazing people, that they're not the center of a bunch of stuff, and here they are talked about again, and it's like World War again. Like, you gonna tell me they're not chosen?
I love the Jews. I love the Jews. I love Jewish people and the things they do. I love the Jews. I know a Jewish person, he look just like you. I love the Jews. Jewish bitches twerking.
I just about that part.
Do. I love the Jews. Man, I love the Jews, cause I love the Jews. I love the Jews. I love Jewish people and the things they do. I love the Jews. I know a Jewish person, he look just like you. I love the Jews. Jewish bitches twerking, doing what they do. I love the Jews. Man, I love the Jews. I'ma keep it goy, them Jewish niggas is my boys. And use a schlep if you is talking all that different noise. I grabbed the snack, she called it nosh. At first I was annoyed, but you keep it real and turn that top and spin me up with joy.
Shallow
Light
people.
them candles, baby, make me that brisket. Shorty wasn't Jewish and I
You're saying,
realized
someone
that.
in the chat saying, love the Jews, just wish they would love us Christians. Don't you know Christians love people even if they don't love them? Even if those people don't love the Christians, especially if they're not loved by
So
them.
much I never keep my distance, and if I get too close I cannot help but kiss them. If you my mispocha, you know that I'm a rapper, y'all. If they is Jewish, then you know that I'm gon' vibe, bro.
I gotta meet you for a second, Zeddy. Appreciate you loving the
I love
Jews.
Jewish people and the things they do. I know a Jewish person, he look just like you. Jewish bitches twerking, doing what they do. Man, I love the Jews, cause I
All right, okay. Appreciate the super chat, Lord Spike Protein. Always a pleasure, sir. It's always a pleasure to have you in the chat. And Terry, thank you, says the great all beef kosher hope. You know it, kosher but based. Definitely kosher. Appreciate that, Terry. Hey, Zeddy, come back. I'll unmute you now. You can talk to me. and appreciate all the support. Kale, thank you. Hey, what's up? Zenny's back. How you doing, sir? Let me unmute you. Welcome, sir.
Did you hear my song?
Were you singing "I Love the Jews"? It sounded like you were singing "I Love the Jews."
Yes, I was singing "I Love the Jews" on beat.
Very nice, sir. Love all people.
Yeah, you know, the Jews, they're cool. I'm Jewish, actually, when you really want to get down to it.
Oh, for real?
If you really want to get down to it.
Doing a little DNA reveal? Not only did we get a face reveal, we're getting a DNA reveal.
DNA reveal, exactly.
That's amazing. I've revealed my DNA too, if you guys remember.
I'm actually cooking at the same time. I'm making a nice chicken meatball pasta. You'd be down with that.
I would. In fact, pasta sounds amazing, man. I need real food. I need some real food. Do
What
we
have you
need
been
to go
cooking
through
lately?
my DNA again, chat? What'd you just say, sir?
I said, what you been cooking lately?
Nothing. That's why I need real food. I ate
man,
one of
some
those
cake meals?
You get one of those grocery store roasted chickens, okay? And they're not bad. But look, that's when you know you're not cooking. That's when you know you're at the behest of others.
We can't afford those in Canada anymore.
No, that is actually heartbreaking. What the?
We gotta live like Haitians out here.
That's actually crazy, man. That's like that's criminal. That's truly criminal.
I don't tell the Trudeau, but I had to go bag myself a Canadian geese.
No, don't say that on air, man. That's like I think a felony up there. Well, hey, whatever. I guess that doesn't matter. There's no laws.
Disavow.
Anymore. There's no laws anymore. There's like no cops in LA. I'm telling you, there's no laws anymore.
Oh man. So I was noticing during the stream that you're 20 shades whiter than Trump.
Yo, I got this computer cave troll complexion, man. I need to start kicking again. I did some weeks ago, and even just one day out there got me a little toasted. I'm telling you, I got computer troll complexion, man, and it's just not going away.
Man, my theory is that JLP is keeping you locked up in the studio. You're working like a slave.
My
on the
ankle's
plantation
chained right now. There's actually a chain on my ankle.
Speaking of plantation.
Yeah, I was actually going to do that today, but then we got into Trump.
Play some plantation, man. What the?
No, we're getting too close to the end. I think we got to leave plantation for maybe Saturday, but I don't want to get people excited for a Saturday stream that might not happen. But we're definitely taking a flight tomorrow, folks, so you don't want to miss it. We're taking a flight tomorrow. Don't miss it. But you were saying?
Can't you play plantation during the flight somehow? Like do double duty?
Double duty? I mean, if there's enough plantation dues, but no, it's the wrong show for it. Maybe after. I was saying got computer troll complexion, but the thing is that I do have like a very pale undertone. Everybody has like an undertone color. Mine is actually very pale. I don't know if it's the 62% Spaniard in me, but yeah, peep the DNA, folks.
Something tells me you got a better chance of fighting for the white man than Trump does. Hi-yo.
I don't know. I've never
I'm just
seen
joking.
myself like that. If anything, I'm black. Look, if you're peeping the DNA, as you can clearly see, I'm black. Look, 2% North African, 1% Senegalese. You know how it goes.
All right, I gotta go deal with this pasta. I'm out of here. Bye.
All right, peace. Hey, thanks everybody joining the Discord. Appreciate y'all being part of the Discord. You can jump in, as Zenny just did. Very cool. We're wrapping it up though. We're winding it down after all this Jewish talk. Look, I got no Jew in me. Well, look at that. Here's my indigenous malice, as you can see. Let's zoom in on my indigenous malice. Yeah, that's what it is. It's probably the more in me. But here's let's zoom in on the 17% that I'm comprised of 70% indigenous malice, and now they got you on file. I know. I didn't know this. I wasn't as based as I am now. As based as I am. That's embarrassing. I didn't know. I spit in the tube and I sent it in. You guys know the story. But yeah, I'm pale. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I've come to learn. I've come to learn that my family, they're from a particular area in Colombia. Okay, northern. They're the Andean North. Okay, they're a little lighter. Even though my mom's nickname growing up was Negra, they called her Negra, and I never understood that. And I would ask about that. She'd say, "Yeah, because I'm darker," but she doesn't look darker. I'm just saying, folks. I'm just saying. Okay, the Spaniards is it all got mixed up, but there are signs of where it all comes from. Even though you got many different Colombians, and the different Colombians in Colombia have like closer ties to Europe and Spain. Some have closer ties to the indigenous. Some have closer ties to like Africa and Arabs. In fact, the very north part of Colombia here has actually a Muslim population. And I think they call them, I forget what they call them. I don't think it's the Santanderianos, but whatever. That's enough, okay? People are going to start cloning me. Appreciate all the support. What else here? I mean, I got nothing else for you. We were going to plantation it up, but I'll let you know when we do that. That's pretty much all the calls. I mean, there's a bunch of you in the general channel. If you want to jump in here and talk to the Anchor Baby, you have something to say, you're more than welcome to here in the last few minutes of the show, but I'm pretty much out. Hey, Brian, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Nick. How are you?
All is well, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I got a question. Have you ever heard of a religion called Baha?
I think so. That sounds familiar. Where have I heard that?
What do you know? Do you know anything about that?
Wait. Baja.
Baja maybe?
Why is this sounding familiar?
It sounded familiar to me earlier when I heard it, but I can't
Has it been
recall
brought up
anything.
on the other shows?
No. I was
okay.
gonna tell you what happened to me today at my job.
Go ahead. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of that guy who calls Hake that. He calls Hake that. Baja, the Baja man. But we'll that's neither here nor there.
Is there a religion called Baha?
I really don't know. I'm about to do some sleuthing though.
The guy said they were outlawed or something like that.
They worship Baja Blast. I would.
Echo Bell.
Is there a religion called Baja? What happened at work?
So I was working at this client's house today, and I was installing this thermostat, and he just started talking to me. You know, he was an older guy, probably in his 70s maybe. And by the way, what's with old people? They like to stand close to you. They want to get all up in your business. What's up with that? You know what I mean?
They can't hear anymore.
I know. I just let it happen.
Yeah.
But he's talking to me, and he starts to. He points out a painting that he had on right there next to the thermostat, and he goes, "This is one of my favorite ones." And I read it, and it's talking about let your heart burn with kindness or something like that.
Mm.
And it was the name at the bottom said Abdul something. That might have been the last name of that person might have been the person that started religion. Now that I'm thinking about it, but he started talking about that, and then he gives me this flyer that I didn't read until I got home when your show started. But he invited me to this thing. He invited me standing all like right in my face, staring into my soul. And he invited me and handed me this flyer, and I just kind of glanced at it and folded it up. But I'm reading it right now. And can I read it to you?
Yeah, go ahead.
It says, meaningful conversations. You are invited to join conversations exploring important topics that lead to social, intellectual, and spiritual progress, welcoming all perspectives in a search for the deeper truths that unite us. Then it goes, please join on this day, this hour. Desserts will be served, blah, blah, blah. Please RSVP, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, this month we will be honored to have Martin Terrell discuss his new book on poetry. Then it gives the title of the book. And then it says, we will then have the opportunity to discuss themes brought out in the book. And then it says about the book. It says, Unseen Scars is more than a collection of poems. It is a call to recognize and confront the often hidden struggles that shape our communities. It is an evocative, I hope I'm saying it right, evocative exploration of prejudice, resilience, and growth of a black man in America. By weaving together personal narratives, societal critique, and moments of humor, Martin Terrell offers readers a profound and moving exploration of urban life and its many unseen scars. Hope to see you soon.
Baha'i.
Baha'i?
Yeah, apparently. I think that's what it is, Baha'i. So you going to go?
No, I'm not going. What the? Come on, man.
Baha'i.
Get out of here. No, I'm not going. You know what, though? I bet that meeting would be full of emotions, boy. I tell you that much.
Yeah.
I'm just reading poems and black
Yeah.
struggles and
There
what
is
a
something
mess.
there is something that always did interest me about like I don't know, the transcendence of religion in a sense.
You mean the
Because I'm
mean?
gathering that Baha'i and all this is this like just looking at their imagery and stuff, it's like a unification of the religions of Christianity, Islam, Judaism.
Right.
There's something about that I've liked about that, but I mean, I don't know what. I noticed these religions. Scientology is something like that too. Scientology is in a sense sort of like that as well.
You know what I think? You know what I think about that, Nick? Because I see what you mean by the transcendence.
It ends up being a mess. But go ahead.
It's like when you were just explaining it, I just see like going from your local corner store to your local gas station to a 7-Eleven to a Sheetz to a Wawa, and to each place it just grows where you can get a little bit of everything that you want here.
That makes sense.
But it's still some BS.
That makes sense. Yeah, because it's like religion. Yeah. And it's
right.
like
because that's what religion is.
Right. It is like BS, but it's like religion is talking about something that's true, and so you know what I mean. So,
right.
Interesting. No, that makes sense, man. That makes sense, sir.
Yeah, but the crazy part about all that was the man was a white man, and I was like, wow. And I was like, man, this is one of the issues we face today, sir.
Yeah. That is interesting.
But he was a nice guy though. He was a nice guy. Aside from the fact that I could smell that he ate something prior to my arrival. Like, I don't know about what's going on with that.
Back up, yo! I have that problem. You know, my friends used to freaking push me. I'd be like standing all close, and I'm like, "Yo, so blah blah blah," and then they'd be like, Nick, back up, and they push me, man. It's the funniest thing. I just didn't know personal space, bro. I just like totally violate that stuff.
There's something beautiful about that, though. Because you know the way
I'm not hard of hearing.
Well, nah, man. Let me just let's go to the other side of that situation, right? So I'm telling you what he was doing, but let me tell you what I was thinking. I was thinking, wow, this is like really a test right now, because I was like, the first thing you want to do is you want to back up. That's the first thought you have. Is like the first thought you have is, let me just take a step back. But then I'm like, why would I do that? I'm like, why would I back up? So I just stand there, and then it just turns into this awkward thing where he knows that he's standing too close. I can see that he knows that. I can see it in his eyes, and I'm standing there, and we just handle business actually a lot better because there's no like separation from what's going on to the step backs, and then we move forward amicably, and then that's the end of it. So it was great.
Funny, man.
Now sometimes that can be. And sometimes, I'll give you another example. When I was younger, there was a guy that my mother was married to for some years. And every time he would address me when I was in the wrong, I was doing something wrong, and he would address me, he wouldn't say anything. He would just come stand real close to me and just put his eyes right in front of mine and just breathe through his nose. It was just so. It was something about it. It was just like, okay, let me like kind of straighten up a little bit.
I'd be like, man, are you okay?
And sometimes it's funny.
Right on, sir. Yeah, close
Right,
talking. I'm just a close talker a little bit.
I don't mind it.
All right, sir. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, sir. Actually, nah, I don't want to talk about nothing else.
All right. Call me again.
Take care, Nick.
Peace. All right, I'm off the Discord too. I'm gone skis because that's pretty much it. All right, y'all. That's it. What else are we going to talk about? Okay, let's talk about it tomorrow. We got a flight. Don't miss it. 4 p.m. Pacific time. We're taking off Anchor Baby Airlines like we do. You want to be there. You want to get your first class tickets if you like. We got a lot of in-flight entertainment and calls and all that, okay? Hope you enjoyed tonight's stream. I'm out for now. We got Open Line Friday tomorrow. What else? Baha Men? No. We're not going to do that. No, we're not going to do the Baha Men. Indio. No, I'm joking. Ben Shapiro owes Jesse lunch. Never forget. Ben Shapiro owes Jesse lunch. All right, y'all. Bye.
There's a lot of body heat in this car now.